I was asked to help our friends remodel their master wardrobe in their apartment to get more functional use out of the space. So I'm going to do what I would do on my own property and make this space tidy, durable, and a more efficient use of space. But first I need to draw it up and get a feel of what we can do with it. I always start off by drawing up a room with proper plans. You don't have to, you can use paper and pencil, but it becomes easier for your trades if you have a proper set of drawings for them to work from. For example, I outsourced cutting all of the cabinet parts to a cut and edge business, and there was absolutely zero dramas with anything. I should let you know that I am a qualified cabinet maker, so I've got a bit of an advantage there. With all the drawings done and dusted, let's get cracking on with it. All right, let's get stuck into it and let's start with the kickers. Now we level it up with a laser. So I've leveled all the kickers up in the shop and I'm going to screw them down to the ground just so that I don't, when I'm putting cabinets on, I don't kick them out of the way and off the packer blocks. All right, with that screwed down, I can start assembling the cabinets and throw them on top. I will mention that I've gotten all the cabinet parts outsourced because I don't have a panel saw or an edge bender. I just give them all the dimensions, where I want the holes, all that sort of thing. I'm going to do the big cabinets first because they're more in the way than all the other ones. So in the cupboard, we've got a top, bottom, and a fixed shelf, and then an adjustable shelf above that. The fixed shelf has got a like a pelmet face on it, and under that is going to be an LED strip. So I've got to put that turn down on the shelf before I put it into the cabinet. I'm going to attach the pelmet turn down via biscuits, not arrowroots, just other wood biscuits. You know what I mean? Biscuits. They're not very nice. Pop your bickies in. Right, well I accidentally didn't record this, but I've cut this out with the track saw. Now I'm going to come along and cut the rest of it out with the jigsaw because this is the door that the LED driver is going to be behind. I'll cut that out, trim this door down and then edge both the inside and the outside, and then we can continue making that cabinet. Now, before I get it off the bench, I've got to do some LED switches, so reed switches that are going to be in the door. So when the door closes, the lights turn off. So I'm going to run some wires in the top of the cabinet, and I'll use a router to get those in the right spot. So these are the reed switches from a brand called Light Dream. I've used them in high-end jobs before. They work really well. So basically that's a reed switch, and a reed switch is basically two bits of metal that get affected by a magnet, and the magnet touches them together and completes a circuit. So that's all that does. So So this gets embedded into the door, that's a magnet that gets embedded, and this gets embedded into the top of the unit. So when the door closes, they're close enough to activate the reed switch. It's pretty clever. And that's how I do a base cabinet. I'd usually put all the hardware on while I'm assembling it, but I'm not quite sure because I'm using a different style draw runner. These ones are from Artia. They're a relatively new product on the market. They're basically the same as the Blum Legra box. So I'll give these a whip, see how they go. Right, I'm cutting all the draw parts down now. I had added them to the cut list as Blum Legra box drawers, knowing that they are one of the bigger drawers in terms of the pieces, that I could trim those down to suit any other similar product, such as the Artia Topaz, which I'm using. So they just need to be trimmed down to size, and then I can start assembling the drawer boxes. Now, it's going to be a problem getting it onto there, and it's just me. So I'm going to have to come up with a tricky way to get it onto those cabinets. It's pretty heavy. Take that shelf out, it's going to be lighter. Now, I've put this cupboard up here, and I've forgotten to put the reed switch rebate on the top of the carcass. So I'm not taking that back off. I'm gonna get the trimmer in there and do it up there, which that's a mistake, but that happens. Was that interesting to watch? More content like that coming up. What I'm doing now, I've cut out a hole in the cabinet to house the electrical stuff, the driver for the LEDs, and there's going to be a GPO on the wall behind it. So I need to rebate some hinges into this board. Now we're going to cut the infills. Good, good. Good, looking good. Okay. Oh yeah. Perfect. Okay, I need to modify these reed switches. This is all 12 volt DC, so I am allowed to work on it. I'm not doing the mains. I've got a mate that's doing the GPO for me. So I just need to extend these because it's not going to reach. So I just need to extend that, extend all three. So I've found some old wire that I'll use just to give it a bit more length. Hanging rail fits in. Oh, like a glove. I'm going to start ripping it down now. I still haven't rebated the mirror into this door, so I'm going to do that now. I've picked it up from the glazier, so I'm going to rebate that in now. So I'll bring the mirror in here, lay it on top, trace it around, remove the mirror, and then I'm going to make some sort of template to actually use a router to do the outside, and I'll have to just hog out the center. It'll probably take a fair while, but that's what it is. I actually outsourced these handles to a company called Helm Furniture. Ever heard of them? The Festool cleaned up one edge because it was slightly bowed, and then through the table saw to make it parallel. Now I'm going to use a router to make a cove cut. So yeah, we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of this one. So I'm going to be using that big sucker there. Well, welcome. I've just pulled out all this wardrobe and I didn't have it recording, so here's the space where it's going. Beautiful. Oh, didn't see that happening. piece that came out of the cupboard, I'm going to put a sliver back into here in one piece, because where the roller doors were, the track came down through the carpet. So I'm going to butt joint that carpet to that carpet. It should look okay. Use that glue to glue it down. Beautiful. All right, I'm just finishing off caulking all the fillers, and then I'll do the handles, and then that's it.